They ask me, they ain't eating that tambourine, but here what happened? If they get a fresh one, they go eat that. So I went and did about 3 trees when she asked for that. But she also watched for and tell me, she said that man coming there so go do one set of shit. I mean, amazingly disappointing to see this particular individual getting cornered by the people. Bannon asked the man if it is that he willing to, to give it up all for his country. Now he get faced with the dilemma, probably to other people in consideration of the consequences, but he couldn't answer, he can't answer yet because of the fact that here what is going to happen. The question is not to him, the question is to the people who actually are aware and actually hiding much more significant information, I think, about the Gen Z effect. All these Christians that are running down doesn't recognize the 144,000 might be those who could afford bunkers, or they could afford one, or they could do what the fuck all they want to have a pocket change or they're gonna get. Unless the system doesn't start to educate the humanity and the civilization to bypass this magnetic pole flip, right? Where it is that all of a sudden the science is coming to show the actual movement of the magnetic poles, right? In support of the information that we're getting all along, right? Thanks to this brother, Ben Davidson. You have to call him Professor Ben Davidson. And he should be the person giving the people the PhD, right, for science. Weinstein should be doing that for physics. And this kind of drunken, stupid approach towards this tit-for-tat scenario about the human civilization, having the experience, the technology, and the advancement, right, from the last 5 civilizations. Some can't come up with the pyramids on top of this thing. I would love to believe it, right? But when you really look at the amount of shit you see this jackass doing, it's hard to tell yourself it's because somehow or the other, these jackasses, you understand that I want to ask the question, how long are they going to give people fucking tobacco, right? Calling it now cigarettes. Let me revisit the whole thing. Let me start to prepare with 3D printing. What happened to hempcrete? Now is the time for the civilization to get the education and the understanding and stop bickering amongst themselves based on some of the most insignificant divisiveness I have ever seen. How the fuck a man responsible for what is he coming with? You know what I mean? And even if it is that he coming these days with the structure, how classes are, constructed, boy, you wouldn't imagine now this loudspeaker coming down the road. But I wonder if you're going to be louder than me because I want to say something too while the jackass passing with his own rendition of what it is I basically want to be saying. He's selling something, right? The big question about it is how much garbage we purchasing. How much garbage we purchasing? How much garbage we purchasing? We had to always, and that's another thing, we had to always be aware as of the garbage we dispensing, right? How we dispensing it. Today I went for a rubbish truck walk. Yeah, when the man asked me if I could run behind the truck, I find that question so nice, and the answer was just, somebody jump up and say, yes. Yeah, Bruno. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. But people, hey, my neighbor now passing here. Why are you telling you now? Until we don't recognize that here what is going on in this hemisphere, if you look at it, when we had the Salvatore building, which was the tallest building in this town, these people had, it's like 41-story buildings and things like that. They don't want to see what a ghetto look like across there, right? And if the man hold military supporting him, you see that kind of jackassness, so look coming with that fella up there, because we know he ain't had his say, right? So we have to ask basically, if it means really and truly at that stage and at that level, right, we don't have that one luxury to bring truth to power. People feel all this other bullshit and thing and all them kind of thing can save them from something. But the only luxury we really have, and if he can ask a question, what is our position? So I think the question should really and truly not even be to that particular kind of position, but more or less to these people who had that kind of capacity to really and truly influence the civilization in a direction that could be a lot, much more. Humanity and peace is a fucking planet. We should be seeking any amount of gold we want from some other asteroid or on some other galaxy. The retardation of humanity based on the construct and the form of the world that we have created. It can't be the only form. And I think in revisiting the construct of the form that, I mean, you all have created, not even the man has something to say that he could say. People clamoring for all the different opportunities for the extent of humanity to actually express the civilization far advanced to the ones that went before. So, in all fairness to the common sense of the whole scenario, all earlier who could have a say and basically had the ability to, I mean, suppress the aspirations of the individual, right? Because we done seen already, he don't have his say. So in saying so, we had to ask where all world you and truly want to go. What wrong with advancement and robotism? You know, robotics is no big set of thing, right? But you can't do it alongside the retardation of the human and do expect it to be a much more intelligent and advanced, I mean, piece equipment. We have no equipment. Our computing power way superior. The retardation of it is basically for what? A form of governance. That's what you call it, a form of governance. The retardation, now that we know the construct of the whole neurological expression of the human, way beyond one question that they can't really and truly answer, is the one about the placebo effect and instant remission. So when these conversations going on, and we look at even, I mean, all these aspects of medicine, you have to ask yourself, is the kind of stupidness is that form of governance, or they really want to create with all that money and all that opportunity? No. A lot of the principles of the form of that governance that we see only have the capacity to doctrinate the world or to try to, right? Outside of the placebo effect and instant remission, only have to understand that the neurology of the human, as we could clearly see, is far more, you know, in the quantum aspect of computerization than the kind of bullshit all they want to create as education. It's time we start to really revisit the form from that level of interpretation, where the advancement and the technological, I mean, achievements we see just only in a form as to an interpretation of governance that really and truly just in any dumb human could tell you that may not be the best interpretation of the human existence. So I think with all that he can ask, and if the only luxury is to bring truth to power, I have to ask you, where are you going with that? Right? Because any dumb human again could tell you that form of governance ain't no kind of advancement. It's not carrying the civilization beyond no other existence. And the suppression and the what they would call it, the simulation, I think Musk, you need to come in on our side and let me really and truly see if we could bring education to carry the human civilization in some form of advancement.